Hi, Christina, we're going live now.
Yes, may I ask to be spotlighted, please? Okay, awesome. Alrighty, good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Williams, and I am the captain of the Changemakers program, which is the shorthand, or I would say the more familiar term for our civic learning, for our service learning and civic engagement program within the UE Mona Commuting Students Office. So initially, this program was meant to be for commuting students, hence it being a part of the Commuting Students Office. But after we saw that we would remain online for, let's say, for the foreseeable future, we opened up the program to all students that are joining us virtually. So almost every single student you can think of will be able to be a part of this program once it is, of course, that they are committed and consistent. So to all your friends who are joining us virtual, once you're a virtual student, you are able to be a part of this project. So just to contextualize a little bit, because it is both a motivational session, but also an orientation session. The program, I'm going to ask for the tech support to help me in admitting students because they're coming in and I'm seeing them. So I want to welcome everyone who is joining us here via Zoom, as well as persons joining us on our live stream platform, which for now is on YouTube. So everyone on YouTube, hi, nice to meet you. And for everyone here on Zoom, also nice to meet you. So going back to the program, so what will be required of you? Very simple, to the point. You will be required to attend a number of workshops based off of your badge, right? So whatever it is that the badge that you have selected through that sheet that you'd have signed up earlier, so you saw that sheet in banner email that would have come to your UE email and you'd have signed up. About 300 of you would have signed up for the program. You'd have selected if you want to be a humanitarian, if you want to be a community activist, if you want to, yes, these work, well, you're in a workshop right now, Lara Lee. And don't mind me, there will be opportunity for you to ask questions very soon, right? So you'd have signed up for the badge that you want to be. And if you looked again at what you'd have signed up for, you'd have seen that each badge has a number of hours that you must complete, as well as the number of workshops that you must attend. So you need to attend at least, so you look back at your thing, you need to attend at least a number of workshops plus a number of hours that you must do with the placement site. You'd have also seen in the form that you were asked, do you want to be self-placed, or do you want to self-place, or do you want to be placed? Do you want to be placed, referred to, do you want to be placed by us here at the UE Mona Commuting Students Office? If not, you can also self-place. A number of you are already involved or know of organizations that you'd want to work with, or you can reach out to them on your own and they'll be willing to work with you. For those of you who are involved in that particular way, then that's fine for you to continue in that manner. But if you choose to be self-placed, we still have to have something official on file. So you'll have to let us know, okay, I want to be self-placed at the University of the West Indies Hospital, using an example, because I want to volunteer my time there. And we will say, okay, fine. Give us the contact information for your supervisor, the person who supervised you, the department, and let us formulate an official relationship. Because at the end of the day, you can't be the one to sign to say you did these hours, even though you are self-placed. We still need to have an objective report from this organization. If you, for whatever reason, can't self-place and you need to rely on us to place you, you will then have to choose from a list of organizations that we have. When you choose from this list of organizations, you will be placed based off of the time that's available. So if you said you want to be placed semester 1, if there's availability, you will be placed semester 1. But if not, you'll be placed semester 2. Hopefully you will still be able to be placed at that time, because sometimes some semesters are heavier than others, but we have to work with both your availability and availability of the organizations. Remember, we have multiple students being placed, so it's really a case of who is the most consistent and committed, and once we have the place, we'll ensure that you're placed on time. Now, for the humanitarian, you have about 100 hours, and 100 hours on paper may sound a lot, but 100 hours is really 2 weeks, because what? 40 and 40, that's 80. So that's, let's call it a month, right? So that would be 40 and 40 is 80. So that's 2 weeks. And then another week. Oh, so that's 3 weeks. So that's the humanitarian. For the community activist, it's only 20 hours. So that's a couple of days. So you see how easy it is for you to fulfill your hours. And for the servant leader, it's 60 hours. So that's again is a week and a half. So the most hours you can do would be 3 weeks, which is the 100 hours. So ladies and gentlemen, don't feel concerned that you won't be able to do your hours or it's going to take a lot out of you. It's just 3 weeks if you're doing a humanitarian badge. Servant leader is just, call it 2 weeks. And for the community activist, it's 1 week, 20 hours. But remember now, ladies and gentlemen, that you also have to attend the workshops as well. It adds up to the badge. Now, for those of you, for whatever reason, can't attend a workshop live, and that happens to all of us, happens to me as well, even for my classes. Sometimes I have to go back and watch recorded sessions. You can always watch the sessions on YouTube. So, for example, I think it was Jamel. Was it Jamel or was it Jordan? I think it was Jordan who said he would have to leave eventually. A person like Jordan could say, okay, I'm going to watch the session on YouTube. And then after YouTube, you will be able to, well, you need to also evaluate. So you need to register. Is my hand showing? Yes. You need to ensure that you register. So right now, for all of you here, look in the chat, there's a registration link. Please register. That's how it starts, because we need to track that you've actually attended. And then 2, you need to evaluate. So you need to evaluate the session to say, oh, never like it, it nice, it never nice, how can it be improved? That also helps to ensure that you actually attended. So what are the 2 things you need to do? You need to register for the session, and you need to evaluate the session post watching the session, whether you attended live or you watch it on YouTube. Very important that you do so. So give me a second, Kenika. I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask the questions. So just to reiterate, you must attend the sessions. I believe for the humanitarian, I think you attend 5 sessions. For the servant leader, you attend 3. And I think for the community activist, you attend 2. So you have to attend the minimum amount. You can attend more, but you need to attend the minimum amount. And then you also need to complete your hours at the placement site and have that signed off, whether you are self-placed or whether you have been placed by us, right? So that is really the program in and of itself, the workshops as well as the sessions. What we're aiming to achieve here, we want to engender social skills. So we want you to be socially aware and socially responsible. If you look around you, right here in Jamaica, right in your community, there's so many issues that need to be resolved. We want to give you the platform to be able to become a change agent in your community, in your country, in your region, and in your world. So we're giving you the theory through these workshops, and then we're also giving you the experience through the placement sites. So usually with any other program, you always get theory. And I won't bash any other program, that happen anywhere else, but you'll always hear about all these different sessions that you can attend. But not many of these programs allow you to get practical experience. So this is how unique the Changemakers program is. It's giving the opportunity to learn how to become a change maker, as well as to give you practical experience. And then all that will culminate now to you having your badge and having that placed on your transcript to say, listen, this student was a part of the Changemakers program. So all of us are doing, getting involved in school. You go to school every day. You still want to ensure that you're involved in extracurricular activities because you want to be seen as a rounded student. And if you only have academics on your transcript, that will not equate to you being considered a rounded student, particularly for those of you who want to apply for scholarships or you want to apply for certain type of competitive jobs. You want to ensure that you are balanced. And today, later on in just a few minutes, you're going to hear about a young person that I have had the privilege to work with for about a month or two now. She's doing amazing work globally. We sit on, I'm just realizing, 2 global boards together. I'm just realizing that's actually a coincidence. And she's doing incredible work, and you're going to see why it's important for young people to get involved. But before we get to her presentation, I'm going to ask you to answer. I'm going to allow you to ask any questions that you have now. I'm just going to run the Q&A for just 5 minutes. And then after I run the Q&A for 5 minutes, I'm going to move to having greetings from our community students SSDM, which is Miss Carisha Larmond. And then after her, we're going to go to Juliana. So I'm going to run the Q&A for just 5 minutes. And any other questions that you have will have to stay until after both Carisha and Juliana speaks. So once again, reminding you to go in and to register if you haven't done so as yet. The link is in the chat. So Lara Lee asks, will these workshops be virtual? Yes, all these workshops will be virtual. Once again, here on Zoom or on YouTube. In terms of placement sites, I have come across students who got the opportunity to be engaged in a physical sense. It's not mandatory. You don't have to engage physically at any of these sites. But students, particularly those who are vaccinated, they have made the choice in the past to be engaged physically. That's a choice that you will have to make. But at no time will we ever ask you, oh, you need to go in to do this project physically. It will always be a choice. The projects will be virtual. The placement site or the placement will be virtual. I hope that's clear. Yes, Kanika, the hours will vary based on the badge. As I said to you before, you would need to sign up for the badge. The badges are the consummate humanitarian, servant leader, as well as community activist. Community activist is 20 hours, servant leader is 60 hours, and the consummate humanitarian is 100 hours. 100 hours. So Kelsey's asking about completing hours. Once again, it's hours will be done virtually. Placement sites virtually. All right, Lara Lee, you have a hand raised. You can open your mic and ask a question.
Hi, good night. So I just registered for via the link that is sent in the chat. However, I'm not seeing where I can register for the badges. So could you clarify that, please?
All right, so there was another, how would you put it now, another link that was sent around originally to allow a person to sign up for the program itself. So you're going to always have people going to come to these sessions or other parts of the program. And that's also fine, by the way. You don't need to be part of the program to attend a session like this. This is knowledge sharing for all of us. But we want you to be part of the program officially so we can track your progress and help you in other ways. Regardless, what will happen is that for those of you who are registering now, we're going to follow up with you and allow you to register nonetheless. So all of you signing up right now using the registration link, we're going to reach out to say, oh, I saw you attended our session. Do you want to be a part of our program? And then we're going to allow you then to go in and decide again what badge you want to be a part of, what organization you want to be a part of, if you want us to place you, or you can choose self-placement. All right, so there will be an opportunity for you to be able to sign up if you hadn't signed up before. All right, okay, so everybody's saying great, noted. It seems as if everybody's clear so far. Awesome. So we're going to move now into welcome from our commuting students, SSDM, Miss Carisha Larmond.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you're seeing me. Yes, you are hearing as well. Just say okay. Awesome. Great. So good evening, everyone. Future change makers, Christina, our speaker, Juliana. Welcome to the Changemakers Club. We are really happy that you are here this evening to just engage and just learn how other young persons are doing well in their communities and just get that motivation and encouragement to do the same for yourself and for your community. Now, the Changemakers Club is one that I am sure that you enjoy. You will learn so much from it. You will, I encourage you, one, to just immerse yourself into whatever activities that you're doing and whatever programs or organizations that you're a part of. Soak up everything that they have to offer. Help out in any way that you can through your special skills, and just make sure that your contribution is well received, and at the end of the day you feel fulfilled. Now, the Changemakers Club is one of those places, as Christina says, that will help you in not only volunteering but learning as well, and learning through or different workshops. It's really getting you to that place where you can actually probably one day start your own organization, or help your community to develop in so many different ways. So I say that to say that, this is not something that you take lightly. Once you have committed to this project, and it may seem like a lot, 20 hours, 60 hours, 100 hours, it's really, when you immerse yourself into this, it's going to be such a short period of time. And I just encourage you to just commit to it. There are other things that you might be doing, and there are other competing things that will come up, but once you're committed to serve and commit to service, you will definitely at the end of the day feel fulfilled. And I'm sure after this evening's presentation from Juliana, you will really see how persons globally, young people globally are doing so much and changing the global space in such amazing ways. So I say welcome to the Changemakers Club. I hope I have, lots of testimonies after this year's staging of Changemakers. Last year, it was a very good year. A lot of students benefited. A lot of organizations benefited. We did so much in the virtual space. It was unbelievable because, many persons and many organizations didn't think that they could do volunteerism online and in the virtual space, and we actually changed that. So you are a part of a legacy that we have started, and I just want to say you are in good hands with Christina. She will guide you well, she will support you well, and the team in the Commuting Students Office are really here to guide and support you and just help you to blossom on this journey at the University of the West Indies. So have a good evening, soak up all that you can soak up today, and just get ready to start making the change. Christina, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Laramond. I tell you, if I wasn't the captain of the ship, I would jump on as a passenger, because you have motivated me. Thank you so much, Ms. Laramond. And listen, guys, don't think Ms. Laramond is just trying to boost up like Suppagen, It's a real thing. When I talked to some of the organizations that we worked with last semester, organizations like Youth for Excellence, and you can go and look on Instagram to see them, because there's proof there. Youth for Excellence, I Bloom Foundation, we had, I think, the Be Better Foundation. We had students working with professors and researchers to find solutions in terms of, looking at challenges in Jamaica, and they were working with researchers, etc. We had Clean Hands, I think it was Clean Hands for Jamaica. We had We Change, Jamaicans for Justice. There were persons who self-placed as well with different organizations. So it was quite a very dynamic experience for all our students. So we're talking about change making, and we're talking about having you become the next set of change makers. Some of you may already be change makers in your own right, in your communities, but may want to expand your experience by becoming a part of this program. For those of you, though, who are a little unsure of why is it important for young people, for a student to get involved, you're saying, but Christina, I'm already tired. I mean, I am so busy with school and all the assignments. Why am I going to take up more work on myself, having to come to a session once per month? And by the way, just once per month. Just to be clear, we only be once per month to come to one of these sessions. And I know I have to go and volunteer for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a week or whatever. And then having to submit my reflection. Why am I going to take up more work on myself? The answer is because we need more.
Who's that talking about? She's in a meeting.
It's going to ask you to mute your microphones, please. Ted, could you assist me, please? Thank you. Right. Why is it so important for young people to get involved? I'm just going to set the tone for Juliana, by the way. When you look in your communities, we're seeing where we have high rates of crime and violence. Yesterday was celebrated as International Peace Day. And if you know that most of the perpetrators are young people, 16 to 24. Most of the victims are also young people, also between 16 to 24. I'm sure most of you here are within that age. Right? We look at challenges of COVID-19 and its negative impacts on the education sector. We see knowledge gap because students are not able to access and remain engaged with the platforms because of whether it be they can't access reliable Wi-Fi or their devices don't work properly or whatever it is. We see the cases of unemployment. 22.41% of young people are facing unemployment in Jamaica. There's cases of poverty. Poverty has actually increased since COVID-19. COVID-19 by itself is an entire issue. So ladies and gentlemen, there's so many issues that require resolution. And you can't just say, oh, I'm going to think about my MP or my councillor or my prime minister or my minister. Young people have to also be a part of the change. That is why today we have Juliana Degani. She's only 21 years of age, right? She's a Brazilian student currently enrolled in the International Relations Institute in her University of Sao Paulo, where she researches environmentally displaced persons and denationalized citizenship. She co-founded the Lelilia Gonzalez Collective for Black Women and Men, advocating for young Black leaders and affirmative action policies in Brazil. She's a G20 youth dialogue and for youth delegate rather. And for those of you who have heard of G20, you know, it's one of the largest summits that they have globally. And the European Commission's Youth Sounding Board for International Partnerships member, and as she decides youth accountability panelist. And both of those two things I just mentioned are both global platforms. This is Juliana Degani. She's going to tell you her story of why she became a change maker, and I hope it will inspire you as well to become a part of the program. Juliana, your time.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you for the introduction and good evening, everybody. I have to state, first of all, that my heart is very warm to see such an initiative like this. Especially in the Global South. I'm sure your work will be incredible. So to start this session, I really want to share a presentation with you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. And can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. So I chose, first of all, right, I chose these two pictures because I think that they summarize pretty much the start of my journey as a change maker. This is the first time that I spoken publicly, and this is the first time that I read a speech in a forum. And I just want to say that it's very important to celebrate those milestones. And from what I can see, the Changemakers program is a milestone in itself. So here a little bit about me before we start. As Christina said, my name is Juliana. I'm 21 years old. I'm a Brazilian big city girl, but I love the outdoors. A fun fact about me is that I have a dog. His name is Potato, and I really love musicals. I can sing to every Mamma Mia song, and I chose this picture of me. It was taken, I think, 5 weeks ago. It was taken in Goiás, which is the middle of Brazil, and this biome right here is called Cerrado. And let me give you a tip. If you ever find yourself in Brazil, please go to Goiás. I think that the most amazing waterfalls that I have ever seen in my life were actually there. So let's get to the chase now. As Christina has said, I'm an international relations student. And well, she already said this also, I won't repeat it, but I want to highlight that this presentation will focus on my work on the Lélia Gonzalez Collective for Black women and men. I chose this very specific case that I'm about to present to you because it was the first time that I chose to change my community. Also, this first picture here, these two boys, this one here and this other one here, they are the ones that co-founded the collective with me. And another fun fact, both of their names are Mateus. So, okay, I organized this talk and what, how, why, and ways forward to be very systematically. Also, I like to highlight, first of all, that as you may have noticed, English is not my first language. So I organized this presentation to help me and not exactly to, it's more of a guide than a presentation. I apologize for it. So don't be too focused on what's written. I think that our dialogue is the most important part. So I think the best way to start is to explain what is an affirmative action policy of socioeconomic and racial quotas for historically marginalized communities to access higher education institutions. So in Brazil, since 2002, we have this public national policy that aims to facilitate that marginalized communities access higher education institutions. And this policy is justified in the belief that once a person has access to higher education, it is easier for them to break cycles of poverty. And Brazil decided to try to implement this policy because of huge income concentration. And also at that time, our country was in the poverty, in the hunger map. And those that were marginalized historically were the ones that were suffering the most. So in 2019, a case fraud happened in my university, most specifically in my college. So a student enrolled through this policy in the international relations course. This meaning that this student that enrolled and didn't meet the quota criteria, he took the spot of a student from a marginalized community. And so the criteria to access this this spot inside university that this student frauded is that the one that wants to enroll through this policy has to have high school. So in a public system, that means then that the one that wants to enroll can have like a private education. It needs to go through the public system. Also, a family income is smaller than 1.2 minimum wages. This is around $300 in Brazil. And also the candidate must be Black, mixed, or indigenous to apply to this very specific spot. So in 2019, this student frauded the policy. Everybody realized in the institution because he wasn't Black, mixed, or indigenous. And from what we could see, the student also didn't come from a lower income family. With that being said, we tried to reach the university, but their response was that there's nothing we can do. This is very interesting because once we started to dig in, we realized that many cases were reported to the university, but none were analyzed or judged until 2020. This fact showed us that there was a clear system failure in the public affirmative action policy. And also we highlighted the unwillingness of the university to address the issue of racial equality and equity in Brazil. So we, as a self-organized, youth-led community, we decided to start a public advocacy campaign with multiple stakeholders. They being the student body of the university, the Black movement of the University of São Paulo City and of Brazil. We also talked with the Dean's Office and with the International Relations College Secretariat, and we made an effort to be heard by the national press, connecting with civil society. We decided to do this through open letters, explaining the situation, the gravity of the situation, and the consequences of the inaction of the university. We also explained our proposals, they being that we wanted to remove the student who supposedly frauded the policy and try to replace it with the next student who would apply and qualify for that spot. We also prepared a document gathering proof of the fraud, that being photos that we found online of the denounced student, stating that he wasn't Black, mixed, or indigenous, that we had evidence that he didn't come from a family with an income smaller than 1.2 minimum wages. And we try to explain this to the university, not only through proof, but also through argumentation, especially when it came to the race of the student. We also led an advocacy within the dean and the secretariat, and the translation for this was that we had endless meetings. We really pushed to be heard because we knew that if we didn't fight for this, it would continue and it would keep Black students, mixed and indigenous students out of higher education institutions, especially because here in Brazil, we have structural restrictions that don't allow this community, this target marginalized community, to access higher education institutions. So why we did this? I just explained a little bit, but going a little bit deeper in this is that Brazil has the biggest Black population outside of Africa and the second biggest Black population in the world. 55.8% of Brazilian population is Black, according to the official census of 2019, that is around 110 million people. And also the racialization process that took place embedded in colonialism in Brazil deeply shapes our society, and its consequences are still present up to this day. And because of it, many young Black, Indigenous, and mixed potentially students can really reach university. So the affirmative action policy was implemented in 2002. It is a federal national policy, so every public university has to implement it. Before this policy, only 10.2% of students in public universities were Black. After this policy, gathering data from 2019, we know now that 50.3% of students in public universities are Black. And we are not yet on the demographic percentage of the Black population. So this is not only this data is important, but also the consequences of reaching and graduating a higher institution. A higher education institution is huge. We almost have now 10 years of this policy, and we know through a vast of studies that once a student that enrolled through quota graduates, they actually not only get themselves out of the poverty trap, but then also they take their community with them. They help their families, they help their communities, because they have the ability to pursue better jobs. So they raise the income, and not only that, but they also democratize our society, because it means that more Black leaders are being forged. More Black leaders have the opportunity to change their societies, the opportunity to be heard. So this policy, it's very important, and it has concrete consequences. And this is why we knew that we couldn't let the fraud continue. So in July 2020, sweet victory arrived. So as I said previously, we started this process in 2019. And after a year and a half, the University of São Paulo finally judged and canceled the registration, the enrollment of the accused student. It took them a year and a half to do something that in other universities is not that long. It was a national victory for the Black Brazilian movement for the reasons that I previously explained, but also because University of São Paulo is historically an institution that has been marginalized Black, poor, Indigenous, mixed students, or potentially students. This university was founded with the money of the coffee producers here in Brazil. So with money that came from the enslavement system, it was built by poor and Black workers that today live in a slum right next to the university. And the university built a huge wall around this campus to segregate this population. So it is a huge victory, because we are, as we say in Portuguese, blackening knowledge. It also started a national dialogue about affirmative actions and the importance of racial equity here in Brazil. This is especially important because it is in the guidelines of this national policy that after 10 years, the policy will be reevaluated. And this is next year, we will have this reevaluation to see if we must continue with the policy or if it has met its goals. Obviously, it hasn't. We want 55.8% or more of Black students in public universities. We want Indigenous population in the university. So starting a national dialogue was very important for us, and we still believe that the consequences of our actions will be seen next year. It also opened national precedent to hold universities accountable for the quality and the follow-up of their affirmative action policies, because some universities didn't follow up. They left this burden, this bureaucratic burden to students, to Black students, that felt not only almost like the presence of somebody that frauded this policy. It's almost a violence, a symbolic violence to a Black student that's there. But also to say to universities that it is your duty. You are a public institution and you have to follow up. You have to make sure that the national policy is being fulfilled and that its target population is actually having access to better life opportunities. And later, oh, I'm so sorry, earlier this month, this news came out that it says it's from the University of São Paulo Journey campus. And it says that the undergrad dean, that the dean's office actually is investigated 193 possible fraud cases. And since 2020, but these fraud cases were reported between 2017 and 2021. So we know that since the beginning of the implementation, a lot of people have graduated through, not because that spot that they occupied in university was meant for them, but because they frauded a system. And right now we are seeing that the seeds that we planted are blossoming. We are actually changing a structural flaw. So what are the ways forward for you who is listening to this session, this chat, is that if you want to provoke change, if you see things in your society that you do not agree with, it is imperative for you to find meaning in the initiatives that you engage. That being, if, for example, you want to work in the humanitarian field, you need to find meaning in every initiative that you take towards that path. Why? Because we see problems every day, like I said before, but we need a sense of urgency to act on the issues that matter to us. And usually meaning and a sense of urgency are connected. Also, it's always very important to take care of your well-being and your mental health. I know that sometimes we get super excited with a meaningful initiative that we partook in, but burning out is never the answer. So, and also when I say mental health, it comes that sometimes fostering change is tough. Sometimes it's starving, it's very rewarding, but sometimes it's tough. In the case that I was mentioning, I was explaining, the student that frauded the policy, he threatened me and my peers multiple times, and we had to reevaluate how we would follow, how we would proceed without putting ourselves in danger. This is taking care of your well-being. It's not, well, I'm sorry, this is taking care of your well-being and still following a path that invokes change. So that being said, it's always very important to have fun and enjoy everyday activities that you partake in. If you find meaning in these activities, and if you find joy in your community, things will be easier. And you face these tough times better with support. And the final advice that I have for you is to self-organize, self-organize, and self-organize. I think that it really doesn't matter how strong institutions are in your country, in your community, there's always gonna be a loop. Always somebody will look at us because we are young and will look at us with some tokenism and won't take our perspective too serious. So we need to find ways and strategies to self-organize to meet our goals. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. This is my contact info. Here's my email, my cell phone number, and my LinkedIn. If you want to know more about affirmative action policies, if you want references, articles, do contact me, and I will not only talk to you, but also give you this material. And right now, I've been told that we will have a Q&A session. So once again, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Juliana. I mean, I've been working with you, but I didn't even know half of your story. So I am also inspired and moved by it. I mean, you were threatened. Wow. And you kept going. I mean, I have done some work here at the university or at universities as a student leader as well. So I know what it, well, I've never been threatened by anyone, but I know what it's like to have to work with administration in regards to ensuring that a particular policy is pushed for, especially when you believe in it so much, despite the opposition. So the floor is now opened for any questions that you may have for Juliana. You may raise your hand and we'll allow you to open your microphones, or you may ask us in the chat. We're also asking you to click onto the evaluation sheet to be able to review the session as well. But any questions? I'm not seeing in hand. You probably were very clear, Juliana, that they don't have any questions at all.
Oh, that's fine. If you do have a question and you don't want to ask right now, or later on something pops on your head, just email me and it's fine, really. And thank you once again for your attention. And I'm so sorry if I made a mistake or if I just wasn't clear enough, but I think that it was, so that's good news.
It was great, Juliana. Don't worry about it. It was great. Alrighty, thank you so much. I know it's late in Brazil. You're what, 2 hours ahead of me?
Yes, it's almost 10 here, but I'm so pumped up with excitement that I'm really not that tired.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And I see everyone in the chat saying, great presentation, you did great. It seems as if they're fired up and they're motivated. Thank you so much again, Juliana, and we'll talk. All right.
Thank you so much. It was great being here, and I hope to see more of the Changemakers community in the future. I will definitely follow that up. I loved the initiative. I have to say that again.
Thank you so much. Wait, I'm seeing a hand. Janelle, go ahead.
Okay, hi. My name is Janelle. So basically, your story was extremely interesting to give that to you, and you're a very passionate individual. But you mentioned that, you know, Brazil is very racist when it comes down to Black people and so forth. But I didn't really hear anything being done about like the board members at the university, because if it's a case that the students commit fraud and these administrators didn't pay any mind when they were aware of it, isn't there some type of punishment or, you know, some type of thing to fix this issue or punish them something?
Just to be clear, is actually a question back to you. Your question was if there's a punishment for the ones that fraud the policy. Is that it?
I think she's referring to the board members, the persons on the university would have allowed the student to fraud the process.
Oh, what happened to them?
Right. So the board
Nothing.
members, the university.
Nothing. They said that it was procedure thing, because the affirmative action policy didn't specify if there was supposed to be a follow-up of the enrollment. And also there's a national law that says that if you do enroll and you do not meet the criteria, you're committing a crime and you might go to jail. But it never really happened. So this is another issue that we're trying to work on. And there's a possibility that we can not only push that, but try to address the board members as well, because they allowed it to happen, but their argumentation and that is that it was a public flaw and not in their personal capabilities, because they were representing a public institution following a public policy. So really it's a hole that it seems to be put there for a purpose, or if the burden of the follow-up of the policy wasn't really thought of. Was I able to answer your question, Janelle?
Yes, you answered it quite well. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Janelle, I think you're quite familiar with that in Jamaica too, right? I mean, persons tend not to be punished for certain things. So I think a lot of us here in Jamaica are familiar with that kind of dynamic.
That's why I asked, because it's such a huge issue and something that we need to overcome. So I want to know what happened to those individuals who allowed it to happen, and seeing that there was a hole or flaw in the system, I guess they took advantage of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, for those of you, you may not have a question, you may have a comment. I mean, if you have a comment, you can also open up your microphone and also comment. You don't have to ask a question, you can always comment, because even though this happened in Brazil, I'm sure a lot of us here can relate to issues, whether at the university level here or in terms of just issues that we see. Affirmative policy is supposed to protect people, ensure that they have access to resources and opportunities that they don't tend to be able to access. When we think about, even for example, guys, PATH program. Now, PATH program, Juliana, just to explain what that is, it's a program where persons can access, I would say, let's call it a stipend per month where they can buy food. And it's supposed to be for the poorest of the poorest. But for the PATH program, we come across persons who are not supposed to be on PATH, right? But they, for whatever reason, because of whatever gap in the system, they still access it. So even though we don't necessarily have an affirmative policy in schools, we definitely have something where the poorest of the poorest through the PATH program should be able to access, but persons still slip through the I would say the gap and are able to access these opportunities. But guys, as I said before, you're free to open up your microphone and make a comment. It don't have to be a question. We have about 5 more minutes left in this segment. So feel free to make a comment if you have any. And Juliana has added her information in the chat if you need to reach out. Christian, I see you're making a comment there. You're free to open your mic, Christian. It's a family here, so you don't have to type. You can always open your microphone and comment. Or anyone else. All right, I guess not. All right, Christian, I understand. It's loud where you are, no problem. So Juliana, once again, thank you so much for being here with us. I will definitely keep you engaged about what's happening here. And if we ever need more support, I will definitely ask you. And if it's possible, I guess you'll say yes, if the time allows. Thank you so much.
I will. I love this initiative. And it was a pleasure, really. So thank you very much, and have a good rest of the evening. And also really enjoy, this is the spring here in Brazil, but I think that is the beginning of autumn for you. And for me, it's such a magical time of the year. So really, I wish you to enjoy it and keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, team. So we just had Juliana who talked about her work in Brazil with affirmative action policies in her school in Sao Paulo. We talked a little bit about what Changemakers program is. I would have opened up the floor to ask for any questions. I'm going to reopen the floor now again for the final set of questions before we close off for the evening. Also want to remind you, very important, that you need to register for the session, right? It's in the chat. Register for the session, and you also need to evaluate the session. If you don't register for the session, we can't confirm you were here. Both to the persons watching me on Zoom and to the persons watching on YouTube. You need to register. The form has been sent. And then you need to evaluate. So now you have listened to Juliana speak, and you have listened to my talking from before. You have an idea of how you enjoyed. I did not enjoy the session, and whatever suggestions that you have, please make it known in the form. The forms are in the chats, both the registration link and the evaluation link. Please make use of them. At this time, if you have any other questions about the program, not about Juliana, but about the program, please let me know as we wind down to end our session for this evening. Any other questions on the program? Seems it was very clear. Okay, what are the next steps? Yes, Karine, it is possible to complete your hours this semester. So the next steps will be like this. So for those of you who would have registered for this particular session, we're going to send you an email to say, thank you for attending our session. Welcome to the Changemakers family. And we're going to give you a link where you'll be able to know, go in and sign up for whether you want to be self-placed or you'd want to be placed by us. And then based off that, what you have selected and based on the availability, we're going to try to get in as many of you, we'll try to get as many of you placed this semester as possible, right? For those of you who want to be placed by us, you will have to choose an org that is available. And so we suggest that you look at the names that you will see on the form and to go and to do your own little research on them so that when you make your selection, you don't have to come back to me again and say, oh, you know, but I want to be at this organization, because it will cause logistic challenges. So we're suggesting, or we're encouraging you that before you select the organization that we're going to provide the list or the options of, that you do your little research on Instagram, see what their mandate is about, what their work is like, if you're comfortable with the work, and then you can now go ahead and select. Okay, what organizations are suitable for self-placement? So Colin, any organization that has to do with social impact. It can be a school, it can be a hospital or clinic. So it can be, so let's put it this way. It can be in education, it can be in health, it can be a foundation attached to a private sector body. So for example, you have an NCB or you have a whatever organization and they have a foundation. If you find that you're able to volunteer with that foundation, you're also free to do that. You may want to work with an NGO or civil society within your parish or wherever, because you have a lot of different UN agencies in Jamaica. You have a lot of civil sector organizations, a lot of foundations. You may see a foundation on social media that you have always liked. You may reach out to them and say, you know, I want to volunteer with you through this official program at UE. And then you can come back to us and say, Christina, I want to volunteer with this organization. I've reached out to them. We can help you to get you placed there. Because it's a self-placement, we can't promise you we're going to get you this organization. Just let me be clear. We can't promise you we're going to get you this organization, but we will assist you in getting the organization to have you volunteer with them. I hope that's clear. So education, health, a foundation attached to a private sector organization, a civil society, government as well. Anything that has to do with social impact. that can be where you volunteer. But you can't come to us with an organization that's completely commercial. So you can't come and tell me you're going to be doing your hours at a restaurant, right? The only way that would be acceptable is if you're saying, well, the restaurant have a feeding program where they're giving out food to persons. Brianna, how many hours do we need? You select your hours based off of the badge that you have selected. Once again, the badges are humanitarian at 100 hours, community activist 20 hours, servant leader 60 hours. Along with the hours, you also have to ensure that you attend a number of workshops as well. Number of workshops are decided based on the badge. Humanitarian badge, you have to attend 4 to 5 workshops. For the community activist, you attend 2 workshops. Servant leader, you attend 3 workshops. That means at least. You can do more, but you have to do at least that number, right? So I'm seeing another question being asked. Is it guaranteed that the badge we receive will be added to our transcript? So once it is that you have completed your hours and you have submitted your, so let me also add this part. When you have completed your hours, you also need to have it signed off by your supervisor. All of these things have to be formalized. So you have done your hours, it has been signed off by your supervisor. You have attended the workshops and you have registered and you have evaluated. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? You attend the workshop, you have to register and you have to evaluate. So you can't attend the workshop and you don't register. How will I know that you have attended? All right? You have to register, you have to evaluate. Once you have done that, you'll be checked off. Oh, you have done the workshops. You have been evaluated by your supervisor, checked off, done your hours. And then when you have done those 2 things, you'll have to do a reflection at the end of the program. So you have done a reflection now, and you have written and said, okay, I enjoyed the program. It was so and so and so. I've learned so and so and so. Or I didn't enjoy it, and I'm recommending that you do this and this and this, because it can also be either. When you've done all of those things, then you'll be able to have it to your transcript. Persons from last year would have done everything, but they never did their reflection. You can't be seen as having completed all of the program. They got their certificates and their badges, but they never got added to their transcripts because they didn't do everything. You have to do everything for the university to sign off to say to be added to your transcript. So that's clear. I don't see the badge registration. No, you won't see the badge registration form. There will be a follow-up email to you. By the way, for the workshops are only once per month. All right? So don't think it's a bag of stress we are put on you. The workshops is once per month. When we send the follow-up email to you, you're going to see the dates for the workshops. There will be one in October and one in November. Today's session with Juliana is a workshop as well. So all of you here, you already have one workshop down. Once you have registered and evaluated, you have one workshop down. Right? So you see how easy it is? And you only have one workshop per month. Very easy program. Easy, easy, easy for you to be able to learn and to get the practical experience.
Christina, just wanted to say one thing. So, for example, the person who asked about the transcript, remember that you have to apply for a co-curricular transcript. So I'm just reminding persons that are you hearing me?
Yes, Miss Larmond.
Right. So I was just saying to persons that it's not your academic transcript, but your co-curricular transcript that right. It is added to. So in order for you to get a co-curricular transcript, you have to apply for it. It's not automatic. Right. So I'm just reminding persons about that. Right. Mm-hmm. So if it is that you are applying for a scholarship, right, and they're saying what is your co-curricular involvement, and you'd want to have that,
something official, because many of us have been to different been to different club societies, but we don't have anything official to say you are a part of this club. And you want to have the transcript, which is signed and stamped by the university, so this person was really a part of this organization. Then once you ask for your transcript, you are going to get it, you get the Changemakers program on your co-curricular transcript. So just for that to be very clear. So you have something official to say you were a part of this program. It's not going to be added to automatically. You would have to request this transcript. It's just like how you request your academic transcript. I mean, you can see it on the system, but you can't get it unless you ask for it, of the official one, that is. So that is something I want to just be clear for all of you there. Yes, Francine, it's done on SAS. So at the end of the program, you can always ask for it on SAS.
I'm not seeing the raise hand feature, so I'm just talking.
That's okay, Brianna, go ahead. So
yeah. Okay, so what was I? Why did I forget what I'm gonna say? Oh yeah, when I was trying to do the evaluation form, there wasn't a section for my name. So how do you know like who filled it out?
Your email.
Oh, that's on the form?
Yes, it's gonna be automatic.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, all right. We don't do the names because we want to protect, we don't want you to have your name right there, but in terms of the email, we'll register. So where we're sending all this information next will be to your emails to say, okay, we have seen you're registered, evaluated. These are the next steps. So in a sense, if you don't register, you don't evaluate, you won't be in the system. So you won't be able to continue this remarkable relationship that we're trying to build. So that is why. So I am seeing where someone is asking about other clubs. All right. It's not related to us, but I will still answer that question because Changemakers is a family and we don't want to just build you through Changemakers. We want to also build you through other means. So Kaimani, one thing that you can do is if you're in a class group, right, you can always ask in the class group, like you could ask like the class rep who tends to know a lot, or the faculty rep who tends to know even more, tend to ask them, what other clubs and societies are owners I could become involved in. I know for a fact that the UE Debating and Public Speaking Society still has meetings as we speak. I know that for a fact. I know that the UE MUN, which is the Model UN, they still have club societies happening right now. I've seen the UE Accounting Society. I don't know if you're accounting. Right, so you see we have the faculty rep right here, Miss Amalara Wilson. She says all the clubs under SOSI are currently active. So you have the faculty rep right here. They're having their Club Fusion tomorrow. Amalara, do you have a link or anything that could be sent? Where will it be hosted? Open up your mic, Amalara, Madam Faculty Rep. Open up your mic, man. I'm not going to speak for you. Amalara? Not possible for you to open up your mic. All right. So she says on their IG page is UMON FSS is in the chat. So you can go, if you're a SOSI student, that is, you can go onto their page and see all the different clubs. They'll be having a Club Fusion tomorrow. And so you'll be able to go and see all the clubs available and be able to become a part. Once again, Changemakers is a society by itself, but we also want you to become involved in other ways because we're trying to create well-rounded change agents. All right, let me see if there are any other questions. Somebody's asking, can the hours complete before December? Yeah, man, definitely. Remember, I said it again. Let me repeat it one more time. The humanitarian badges are 100 hours. That's 3 weeks, all right? The community activist is only 20 hours. The servant leader is 60 hours, which simply means that you can finish all of these badges. Well, the one badge that you'd have chosen, because you're only supposed to choose one badge. You can finish this badge in a month or less. So you don't have to worry about, once you plan your time properly and you're placed properly, because you're consistent and you're committed and we said that and we placed you, you will be able to complete it on time before exams. Also, we don't do placement during exams. We don't have workshops during exams and we don't have placement during exams. We only have workshops once per month.
Christina, I'm still a bit confused because I just filled out the evaluation form and I think you said the email thing is automatic, but I'm not seeing how, because I didn't even, it's not like I had to sign in to access the Google form. So
Did you register?
Yeah, I registered.
So we'll have your information from registration form.
Okay.
I can't speak to the forms completely because the tech team would have developed that part, but for sure, the registration form will have your information and we'll be in contact. So don't worry too much about it. But thanks for highlighting that still, because we still want to be able to capture the emails from the evaluation forms. So thanks for highlighting that, Brianna. Is there any other question that I am missing? I'm going to now put the email of the Community and Students Office in the chat, so that if any of you, for whatever reason, is having any challenges, you can reach out here as well. Romaria, could you put it in the chat, please? I want to ensure that I have the right thing. This is the Gmail. In terms of a WhatsApp group, the WhatsApp groups will be created as soon as we have confirmed who the persons are in the program. Now, once again, this is the final thing I will say, because we're going to end now, is that everybody can come to a session, right? So even if your friend is not a part of the Changemakers program, or you're not a change maker, that's how we call you change makers, you can always come and watch. Juliana was today. There will be many more other established, distinguished speakers over the period. We get the best of the best for our students here. So if you don't want to join up to the program for whatever reason, which is fine, you can always come and listen in once per month. But if you want to be a part of the program now, then you get more access. So in terms of those who are part of the program, you will be the ones added to the WhatsApp group. You will be the ones placed at the placement cells and do your volunteer hours and other things added to your transcript, right? It's not going to be for everyone, but everyone can always join in, whether here on Zoom to watch the session or on YouTube as well. You can also go back and watch the session on YouTube. So if you come late and you want to watch what you did miss, you can watch on YouTube. And if you come and have to leave early, you can watch the rest on YouTube. There's also that opportunity for you as well. And if for whatever reason you want to come to a workshop and you can't make it on the day, because you know things happen and we have school and we have work, etc., you can always watch on YouTube, register, watch on YouTube and evaluate, and we'll still mark it as you having been to the workshop. Is that clear? You don't have to come live if for some reason you can't attend live, because things happen. You can always register, watch it on YouTube and evaluate after, and it will still be marked as you having attended the session. Just want that to be clear.
Hi, Christina. So just to let them know that the registration form and evaluation form will be in the description on the YouTube channel. So once they watch it, they can just look in the description for the evaluation form and the registration form. That's where they can find it.
Awesome.
Yes.
So going forward, not just for today, but for every other session that will happen once per month, you will be able to see the evaluation registration forms in the description link on Zoom on YouTube. But just remember again, you have to register for the sessions. Every session that you attend, you have to register, because that's the only way we'll be able to know that you attended, and you have to evaluate as well. All right. So I hope we're all inspired, motivated, and ready to become change agents or change makers in the Changemakers program. I am excited to work with each and every one of you. Yes, someone is speaking.
Me.
Go ahead.
I was asking a question earlier. I don't know if you see it, but I was asking that for the hours. I think I signed up for one for 60 hours. I think humanitarian or something like that. I'm not sure. However, for the hours, we should complete it throughout the semester, or we can do it like within a time. For instance, we have to complete it before December, or we can complete within the month of December?
All right, that's a very good question, Lacey. So it depends on the choice that you made in terms of when you'd want to be placed. So, well, two things. Firstly, do you want to place yourself or do you want to be placed by us? If you choose to place yourself, I'm doing it general now. If you choose to place yourself, you have more options in terms of when you can do your hours. Reason being, because you're self-placed, you kind of manage your own thing in a little way, right? Let's use a pattern so we clear. So if I choose that I want to volunteer at a school, and they have accepted me to volunteer with them, and they said, okay, we will take you on in December, and you feel like you can manage being placed in December and managing your exams, and that's fine, because the academic year ends in March. Well, actually May, but the program ends in March. Changemakers, we're wrapping everything up in March. So you can volunteer anytime before March, but we always encourage students to get it out the way as quickly as possible. So if you can volunteer this semester, we advise you to volunteer this semester. Reason being, it gives you time to do your reflection, to finish up your workshops. So if you say, you know what, I'm just going to do 2 workshops this year and 1 workshop next year, or 1 workshop this semester and 2 next semester, or however much workshops you need to do, it gives you more opportunity to space out what you need to do. You also need to do a reflection as well. So it gives you time to write. But if you are rushing off to try to do your hours in March, when the program is closing, you have less time to do everything, because you're going to have to do your hours, finish off all the workshops, plus do your reflection. See where I'm coming from? So if you self-place, you have more time to choose when you want to do your hours. If you place by us, we have some time frames to work with. So we're not going to be placing anyone to do any voluntary work on our using our organizations during exam period. We won't do that because it's not best practice. So if you're choosing us to place you, we won't place you during exam period. So that's clear.
That part is clear, but what I was thinking is that in December we have like half of December for like exam and the other half for like
holiday, right?
Yes. So I was wondering, in that half after exam, enter all the workshop and everything. After the other half, you can like probably volunteer for that as a
Okay, so that's a good question, but you have to also remember that the other half of December tends to fall within Christmas. And remember now, you're being facilitated by organizations who are people, you know, just like us, and they have families. So a lot of organizations tend not to take on people during the 25th, 26th, 27th, because all of that is that 1 week, you know, you have Christmas, Boxing Day, well, we're more like gonna have no movement, but still, it's still holidays, and you're not gonna have a lot of people who want to have you volunteer during that time. Then you have January now, excuse me, where you may be able to volunteer, but I can't say to you right now you'll be able to volunteer during that time, because the organizations themselves have to decide when they're able to take you. So we can't dictate to them, oh, you have to take them. No, they're going to tell us, oh, we can take a batch September between this time and this time. We can take a batch October, this time and this time. December, probably not. November, the same thing. So we have to think about when they're able to take you on, and then fit you into a slot that works as best as possible. But again, if you choose self-placement, you will have more flexibility, because you can talk to your person or your organization and say, listen to me, this may be best for me, and they may be able to say yes. But even when you self-place, you still have to rely on them being able to facilitate you. So Lacey, I get your point, but we cannot have to play it by ear, because we don't know if organizations can actually take you on during that time.
I have another question. Sorry for that.
All right, I'm gonna allow Amari to go because he has his hand up for a while, and we take you out. No problem. Amari?
All right, so Amari's a girl.
Oh, hi.
Hi. All right, so for people like myself who got super excited because this is the first thing that came to my email, and I'm super excited about volunteering. So I decided to self-place, and I reached out to the institution already, and they never want. I volunteer there all the time. So I started because I told them that I wanted volunteer hours and they were looking for volunteers as well. So I actually already started. Does the hours that I've already done count, or do I have to do those over?
So it's a good question. What I would say, we try to keep things on a level playing field. So we don't think it would be fair to have you utilize hours that you've already done with them towards the badge, because you haven't been formally integrated into, I mean, today just one session, the orientation, and then this one session, you haven't been formally integrated into the program as yet. So just that you probably pause your hours, right? So you can still have them to be used. And then as soon as you're formal, we can get you ready and get you into the program. You also mentioned that they want volunteers. Probably should speak about that, because we're always seeking more organizations to place our students. So maybe you and I could speak. Do you mind? I'm going to put my number in the chat. Anybody can access my number, by the way, there. But Omar, I'd love for you to send me a message so we could probably talk some more about if they have space for others as well, because we do want to have more organizations as well to facilitate all the students who want to volunteer and be placed.
No problem. They do always want volunteers. So yes, I'll reach out to you regarding that.
Thank you so much. All right. So, you have another question? No?
How do you raise your hand on this?
How do you put a hand down?
No, raise your hand. I'm not seeing the option.
Well, your hand was raised a while ago, actually.
Mine?
Yes. Well, no, not you, Brianna. Amari, sorry. Your voices are very similar.
Oh, sorry. My hand was raised. I just clicked on more and it gave me the option to chat, meeting settings, disconnect, raise hands, or send emojis.
Where do you see more though? Oh, wait, more. No, I don't see it.
In the middle, right above the emojis.
Sometimes the different versions
Sorry,
of
you can
Zoom.
also use reactions. If you're seeing reactions, use that.
Okay, so you've either seen reactions, yes, use reactions. That's where my raise hand is.
Reactions, but I see it now.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Quick question, back to the form. If it says if you're already a registered member, what do I put there since I want to register? No or yes?
Put no, because you're not registered elsewhere, right?
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Lacey, back to you, Lacey. I haven't forgotten you. Lacey? Lacey, you're gone? I don't see her. I know she had one more question, so I'm not seeing her. So my number's in the... Hi, Amari.
I have something else to ask regarding what you just said a while ago about the form. I clicked registered because I got a form in my email and I registered on that. So I thought that was what it was referring to.
Yes, that is true. So if you register, that is true.
Okay.
Awesome. So we'll be sending an email, a follow-up email to both the people who have registered and to the people who have registered here for this session. But what will happen is that for persons who haven't interacted with the workshop, right? Whether through Zoom here or through YouTube, because they won't be able to move on, because we have to sift through. There's no way we're going to place all that many students that are registered. I mean, everybody saw this thing in their banner. They were like, oh, this is so interesting. Let me just register. We can't move forward everybody like that. We need people who are committed, right? Because placement is a logistical nightmare by itself. So we need people who are committed to the cause. So we're going to send a follow-up email to both those who are registered using that general link that was sent from 2 weeks ago or so, as well as those who are registered here using this link. And whoever it is that maintain commitment and contact with us, those are the ones that are going to be placed at the end of the day. It's not going to be a free-for-all type of situation. So I just want that to be clear to all of us. And if you have a friend who wants to become a part of it, that's also a possibility. They can still, it's not too late for them to sign up. But once again, they have to be committed to the cause for them to be placed. We're not going to give away placements to students who are not committed. All right, I think Lacey has left, which is unfortunate. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have already emailed in the chat for the office. That's where you'll be able to reach me. And you've also seen my number in the chat as well, where you'll also be able to reach me. So you see my number and you see the email for the community and students office. Please make use of them. Don't use my number too much right now, right? Because we want to formalize the thing first. But if you have concerns, reach out to me via email. If there's an emergency, our Lacey is back. If there's an emergency, you can reach out to me via email, via phone. But if not an emergency, utilize the emails for now until we have formalized you all and then have you in a nice WhatsApp group where things will become easier from there. Lacey, we are actually waiting on you. So let me know what your final question is so that we can wrap up. Lacey, you're here. I just added you a while ago. Or did you jump off again? It seems to have internet problems then. Oh no, there she is. Lacey. I'm not sure what's happening with her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for our first session for the Changemakers program, as well as for orientation. I will definitely be in contact with you via email, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you formalized and ready to take on your community challenges or your country challenges as changemakers in training. All right, have a good night. Lacey, I am here. What's up? I was trying to get you to ask a question, but you see me dropped off. You have to ask no because we're ending the live. You can always message me as well. So I'll put my number in the chat. You can always message me. Also, thank you so much, Amalara, for being here. Faculty rep for social sciences. For all of you here who are social sciences students. All right, tech support. Also, thank you for assisting us. I know Romario Anderson is the one behind the scenes. Thank you so much for being here and for assisting. And Miss Larmond. I don't know if you're still here with us, but thank you for the support. I think we're now able to end the live because I think we have everything. We have said everything that we need to be said. That need to be said.
All right, sure, will do.